Knowing how much you need to save over time is absolutely life-changing when it comes to your personal finances, because once you know what your end goal is, then you can start to save that amount every single month so that you can hit that end goal. So today, we're going to be talking about how much you need to have saved and invested by age. Now, before we dive in, as we go through this process, I am going to give you 3 different scenarios for each age range. We're going to talk about if you want to spend $60,000 per year in retirement. Then we're going to talk about if you want to spend $100,000 per year in retirement. And we're going to talk about if you want to spend $150,000 in retirement, how much you need to save up in order to hit that amount. Now, one thing to note here is as we go through these ages, just because you don't have that amount saved by that specific age does not mean that you cannot catch up. In fact, it is never too late. I never want you to think that it is too late. And if you're late to the game to start saving and investing, we have a video where we talk exactly about how you can catch up and why it is never too late. And we did this with a 10% rate of return over time. So if you started at 22, you have 38 years for this money to compound. And if you want to retire sooner, then you can just increase the amount that you have there so you can accelerate your path to building wealth. So first, let's get into the 20s. So in your 20s, there is a couple things to note before we dive into how much you need to have saved and invested. Number one is that investing your money in your 20s is so much more valuable than these other decades. Why? Because your dollars that you invest early are worth so much more in the long run because they have so much more time to compound. I cannot stress this enough. If you can start investing right away, even if it's a small amount, those dollars are worth so much more than someone who starts in their 30s or 40s. The next thing I want you to focus on is focusing on the income side of the equation. Let's get real here. Most people in their 20s, they don't make much money or they make much less than they want to be making. So what you want to do is focus your time on the income side of the equation, because income is going to solve a majority of your problems if you can increase that income over time. So learning how to negotiate your salary, building up skills that will help you earn more money, and starting up some side hustles that could turn into full-blown businesses is some of the best things that you can do in your 20s. You don't have as many responsibilities yet. You don't have a ton of people who depend on you in most scenarios. So doing this stuff early and often will change your life forever if you do it now. Now let's get into how much you need to have saved and invested. So if you want to spend $60,000 per year at the age of 22, you need to have at least $4,138 invested if you want to be on pace to be able to hit that retirement age with $60,000 per year. If you're at the age of 25, you need to have at least $19,206. And if you're at the age of 29, $47,326 saved and invested. Now, what if you want to spend $100,000 a year? So at $100,000 per year, if you're 22, $6,897 saved and invested. If you're 25, $32,010 invested. And if you are 29, $78,876 invested. Now at $150,000 level, if you're 22, you need $10,283 invested. At 25, $47,724 invested. And at 29, $117,597 invested. Now, let's take a look at the 30s. So there's a few things to note when you get into your 30s, one of which is your costs can significantly rise over time because maybe you're getting married, maybe you're having kids, or you just have more things going on in your life. You have to travel for a bunch of friends who are getting married. You have to do all these additional things, and so your cost of living is going to rise. You need to be conscious of that and make sure that you do not have lifestyle creep coming into play. And if you have children in your 30s that are young, this can be the biggest line item in your budget because childcare is one of the greatest expenses for people in this country. Now, one thing you want to make sure you're doing is make sure that you're increasing the amount that you're investing every single year, every time you get a raise. You got to be increasing that amount so that you can accelerate your path to building wealth. And you also need to get life insurance if you have people who depend on you. Term life insurance is absolutely perfect for this. And you need to have a will in place because you're starting to build up assets in your 30s. So having that will in place is a powerful thing. There's a place online that's really cheap and easy called Trust and Will that will help you through that process. We'll link them up down below so that you can check them out. And I want you in your 30s to be investing 20% or more of your net income every single month into savings and investments, building up that emergency fund or investing those dollars for your future wealth. So at least 20%, if not more. If you want to be financially independent in your 40s, then you need to bump that up to 50%, but making sure that you are increasing your investment amount as fast as you possibly can. Now, in your 30s, if you want to spend $60,000 per year by the time you hit retirement age, at age 30, you need $56,000 $115,197. At age 35, you need $115,771. And at age 39, you need $188,706 invested at that point in time for $60,000 per year. Now, what if you wanted $100,000 per year? At $100,000 per year, at the age of 30, you need $93,661 for this to compound enough for you to have $100,000 per year to spend in retirement. At 35, $192,951. And at 39, $314,510. And what if you wanted to spend $150,000 a year? Well, at age 30, you need $139,641 invested. At age 35, you need $287,673 invested. And at age 39, you need $468,907 invested. Now, let's hit up the 40s. So when you're in your 40s, your emergency fund should be growing over time. You should be building up that cash buffer, and you should have enough of an emergency fund to take care of any emergency that takes place. 6 months is at a minimum in your 40s will help take care of some of those things. And it should be growing over time because as you approach retirement age, I would like you to have a larger cash reserve in place so that if anything happens in retirement, you at least have a year's worth of runway so that you can take care of any business that you need to take care of. Also, start thinking about your housing situation in retirement once you hit your 40s, because when you're in that age range, you got to figure out, hey, am I going to have a mortgage when I'm retired, or do I want my house paid off? And you also need to look at your asset allocation. Make sure you're comfortable with that asset allocation. Do you have the right stocks and bonds for your future? Are you comfortable with your risk tolerance and your current asset allocation? And then making sure you're taking care of your health so you can reduce your medical costs in the future is a very important thing. It'll reduce the amount of money that you're spending on healthcare costs when it comes to your 40s. And then lastly, all high interest debt should be gone, and you should not be taking on any new high interest debt when you're in your 40s. This is a very important thing to do. So if you want to spend $60,000 per year, let's see how much you need to have invested to spend that $60,000 per year. So at age 40, $211,715. At age 45, $366,235. At age 49, $555,411. Now, if you want to spend $100,000 per year in retirement, here's how much you need. At age 40, $352,859. At age 45, $610,392. And at age 49, $925,685. And then $150,000 per year if you wanted to spend that much in retirement. At age 40, $526,081. At age 45, $910,039. And at age 49, $1,380,112. Lastly, let's take a look at the 50s and see how much you need to have saved and invested in your 50s in order to be able to retire at age 60. So in your 50s, there's a couple of things that I want you to know. First, you need to know how you're going to withdraw from your portfolio. You should be building up a much larger cash position unless you have not started investing. If you're late to the investing game, then you need to work on investing first, but then building up that cash position if you're on track. You need to take advantage of catch-up contributions because when you're in your 50s, you can contribute more to your 401k and to your Roth IRA. With the Roth IRA, it's an additional $1,000 every single year that you can contribute, and in your 401k, it's an additional $7,500 at the time recording this. These go up every couple of years, so making sure you look at the current one is very, very important. In addition, make sure you're starting a dream fund because if you're approaching retirement age at that traditional retirement age, have that dream fund available so you can travel to the places you want to in retirement so that you can do the things that you want. Start building up that dream fund. You have a full decade here that you can be doing that. And making sure your estate plan is in order is imperative during this time. You can use something like trust and will. You can talk to an attorney. There's a bunch of options out there, but having that estate plan ready is very, very powerful. And then look to pay off your mortgage or any other bills that you do not want to have in retirement. Also, look to remove some of that low interest debt. So we pay off high interest debt in all the other decades. Make sure we don't have any high interest debt. And then look at that low interest debt. Do you still want to carry that mortgage? Do you still want to carry that car loan? Maybe you want to pay some of those off so you have no debt in retirement. It reduces your stress and reduces your anxiety when it comes to retirement. So let's look at if you want to spend $60,000 per year in your 50s, by age 50, you need to have at least $615,090 invested. By age 55, you need $1,015,000 invested. By age 59, $1.5 million $50,000 is what you need to have invested. Now, if you want to spend $100,000 per year, by age 50, you need $1,025,000. By age 55, $1.693 million. And by age 59, $2.5 million. And then at $150,000, by age 50, you need $1.528 million. By age 55, $2.524 million. And by age 59, $3.743 million. Listen, I hope this helped you guys learn what to be during each decade, and in addition, learning how much you need to have saved and invested. Like I said, if you are behind, do not worry about it. You can always catch up. You can always do a bunch of different things to accelerate your path to building wealth so that you can retire at age 60 or way earlier if you want to. We talk about financial independence all the time on this channel and on our podcast, the Personal Finance Podcast. So make sure you check that out because you can retire even earlier if you want to. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will see you on the next video.